Well, thank you, and welcome to the 2021 Silver Stars Awards celebration. Let me just go ahead and say that with so much that has happened over the last 1 or 2 years, being here just feels good and right, especially with so many good-looking people that have done so many great things and shown that even if the world doesn't understand what normal is, you all know what giving means. And thank you so much for your leadership and your kindness, and for those of you who have made this event possible. We are grateful to be able to celebrate this afternoon among the stars. Welcome to the 19th anniversary of this fabulous Silver Stars event, brought to you by the Tallahassee Senior Center and Capital Health Plan. My co-host, Tom Flanagan, the voice of WFSU, will be presenting the Silver Stars. Tom is a fantastic friend, but we do want you to know that Anna Johnson has retired from this role. We didn't fire her, as if you could fire Anna Johnson. She asked that we find new ways to continue this program, and I think it's honestly because it's about time that she's a Silver Star, and we didn't want this to seem that it was rigged. So Anna has presented the Silver Stars Awards for 14 of the 19 years of this event. She is truly a star in her own right. Tom filled in for me a couple of years ago, and I know he did a great job recognizing our stars. He did not realize that it was auditions for this particular program to fill such big shoes, but he must have done a fantastic job because he's here in the big role.
Well, folks, good afternoon, and welcome to the hottest ticket in town. Our 2021 revitalized, re-energized, reorganized, and back where it should always be, here at the University Center Club, our Silver Stars Award. And I'm Tom Flanagan from WFSU. Thank you all so much for coming, for braving the uncertainties of the hour and celebrating some absolutely incredible people with us once again, live and in person right here. Before we honor this year's honorees, I did some quick math, which is one of the things that I am least good at. But I was so impressed with the listing of our previous Silver Stars over the years, a total, including this year's honorees, of 19 years, and averaging about 8 honorees per year. And looking over the ages of those folks, and taking a median and then doing some quick algorithmic computations without the benefit of Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, I was able to determine that the total number of years represented by the lives of our honorees over these years totals in excess of 12,000 years. And what was happening on planet Earth 12,000 years ago? It turns out some very fascinating things. Civilization as we know it, of course, did not exist. Not even a Paleolithic early version of civilization, but we do know that there were some literal earth-shaking events going on. We were starting to come out of an ice age. There was a warming trend underway, and then a gigantic comet hit the Earth and threw everything back probably another several centuries as far as development was concerned. So there was almost an earth-shattering happening that was taking place 12,000 years ago. Again, representing all the years of our Silver Stars since the inception of the program. And I thought that was kind of a cosmic convergence, because these folks are earth shakers in their own way. What they have done in our community, the contributions that they have made to everything that we know and love about this town, is pretty much as monumental as a simple comet strike on the planet. And their contributions will continue for many, many, many years to come. Let's meet these folks here. And by the way, I will remind you that the people who interviewed our Silver Stars are 4th grade students from Anne Marie Small's 4th grade class at Cornerstone Learning Academy. And as usual, one of the highlights of the event will be the video interviews that the students put together in recognition of these terrific people and their contributions. So we will ask, as the honorees are named, for them to stand, and also the students accompanying them from Cornerstone. And each of their many biographies, if you look at your program, are included in there. And really an entire book could be written about what each one of these folks has done as far as monumental accomplishments. And we really want to thank Jameson Red and the Cornerstone Learning Community students. You'll get to know each one better through the video interview. So let's meet our Silver Stars. And before we get underway, just want to let you know it will take a few seconds to cue up each of the videos that show what they have to say about their lives and what they have done. Our first honoree for this evening is no longer with us in physical presence, but certainly her contribution, her memory goes on and on. This is June McDonald. She lived to be 100 years old. She hit the century mark. And her son-in-law, Gary Click, was representing her also in the interview. Her granddaughter, Nancy Click, was filling in for her, conducting the interview with Sophie Hall. Gary, thank you for coming. Really appreciate that, sir. And if you could join us up here on stage, would that be okay, Gary? If you could join us here, please. Thank you so much. You know, Miss McDonald lived long enough to experience the year of the drive-by birthday celebration. You remember that. More than 50 cars, I believe, Gary, drove by in honor of her birthday. And married to a minister, she embraced a true lifestyle of serving others, first through her teaching career and then her volunteer service. Let's hear some more about this phenomenal lady from her granddaughter, Nancy Click.
I'm sorry about your grandmother's passing. Thank you for being here today. Will you tell me a little bit about her?
Sure. Grandma June was born in June 2nd, 1920. So she lived to be 100 and a half. She passed away in February of this year. Lived an amazing life. She saw so many things through her life. So she was born in Ashtabula in Ohio. Met her husband at Kent State University when she was getting her degree in education. Married her husband, John, and served as an elementary school teacher and a minister's wife for many, many years. They moved to Florida. 1957, I believe, is when they moved to Miami, and she worked as a 1st through 4th grade teacher in Miami for 26 years. And then in 1990, she moved to Tallahassee to be near her daughter, Marcia, and so she got to see her grandsons grow up. And it was when she moved to Tallahassee in 1990 that she became extremely active in volunteering. So she lived a very full life, and she passed away in February at 100 and a half years old.
Tell me more about what Miss June did to stay active.
Grandma June was so active and was a constant hostess. I think you never saw her without her makeup and her hair and dressed to the nines and caring for everybody. She loved to have people in her home, and she loved to entertain, and she loved to just make things special, whether it was a holiday or an everyday. She loved to kind of go over the top with her. That was how she showed love, was by caring for others and entertaining, if you will. So she hosted a weekly Bible study in her house on Thursday nights. She was incredibly active with our church, with Faith Presbyterian Church, and then also with Celebration Baptist Church. So she was active with 2 churches. She volunteered at TMH Auxiliary for many, many, many years. She was the oldest volunteer there. There was not a day that went by that Grandma June, up until she was 99, almost 100 years old, she had something she did every single day.
Can you tell me a funny story about Miss June?
So Grandma June, she moved to the Grove at Canopy in February of last year, just before coronavirus. And she lived completely on her own up until that. So she stopped driving when she was about 98 years old. And then we worked with the driver and somebody that came in and helped take care of her, but she lived on her own completely until the end. She moved into the Grove, but she needed a little bit more help. So they moved her into the memory care unit, which was a locked unit. She made a friend wherever. So she made friends with all of the people in the memory care unit. And she started to watch, because she was a sharp lady, she started to watch how people came and went from that memory care unit, and discovered that there was a keypad that she could get out. So daily, she would take her group of friends to the keypad, and they would try to escape from the memory care unit. And she would tell them, I mean, the staff loved her at the Grove. It was hard not to love Grandma June. But they would watch her say, come on, I see them put codes in. So they would all stand around the keypad unit and pressing buttons, trying to guess the code so they could get out. Not that they didn't like being in there, but she just wanted to have the control of her life. She didn't like that she wasn't in charge and wasn't in control. So she was going to escape by putting in the numbers on the keypad.
Tell me how Miss June felt when she received her Silver Star Award.
So she was so honored by that. I think for Grandma June, she never really felt like she was doing anything extraordinary by volunteering in the community. She didn't realize that she was making such a difference in so many people's lives. And it was little things, like just making sure the coffee was hot for somebody that was waiting for a loved one in the hospital waiting room. And I think by the time she got the award, she knew she was coming near an end. And was just feeling accomplished with all that she was able to do and give back and teach us about how we should care for our community.
What a great tribute to June McDonald, huh? And Gary, she sounds like she was quite a handful.
Yes, she was. She was quite active, and she was very upset when they took her keys away from her.
Well, you know, in addition to her volunteer service at TMH that we heard about for over 30 years, she was also a docent over in the Florida Governor's Mansion, which is in itself a huge job. Not quite as much now. It's a little bit more constricted than it used to be, but a lot of people would come and go back in the day. I remember that very, very well. An active member of the Killearn Ladies Club, served the Tallahassee Music Guild for many years, also recognized for her outstanding service to music in the community. And you, Gary, and Nancy recall her advice, hold on to those you love, and you folks certainly did. And thank you for sharing June with us.
Thank
Gary.
you. And I wanted to thank the senior citizens.
Here we go, Gary, right here.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to thank the staff for making her presentation of her award to her a year ago, June, while she was still with us. And that was very touching. Thank you.
Well, let's see. Next, we have a person we'd love for you to meet. This is Tom Hart. Mr. Hart, if you would join us, please, on stage. And this sprightly young man, as he comes dashing up here on stage, age 83. And Tom, welcome, and congratulations to you, sir. You were about to be interviewed. You underwent this already, but Isabel Lopez. And if you spend any time with this guy, you know he is sincere when he says he's loved nearly every minute of his life and not one to sit still, as we have already seen. Tom,
I had a friend that said that he loved every minute of his life.
Every minute.
I'm sorry, I cannot say I loved every minute of my life.
And a more diplomatic way is to say most of them.
Most of it.
Most of them. There you go. But this walking bundle of enthusiasm over here, no matter what he's doing or reminiscing about the amazing life experiences he has, he also gets just as excited about other people's accomplishments, and he's always looking for ways to help others achieve their goals. Tom started painting while teaching in Singapore for a year and claims his very first painting, which was done on a paper plate, is still his favorite. True?
Yes.
You still have it?
I still have it. You'll see it. I think you'll see it in the video.
Terrific. Can't wait to see it. After he retired in 2005, he started to do more painting, now participates in Linda Pelk's watercolor class. And we'll hear how he's combined his career as an instructor at the School of Library and Information Science at Florida State University with his love of art on video. Let's meet Tom Hart.
Mr. Tom, how did you become a watercolor artist?
I selected watercolors because I had done oils in the past. I really had done some oil painting in the 1980s. But it takes so long to dry. And I'm an impatient person, I guess. So I do watercolors because I have a hair dryer. If it has to dry faster, I put a hair dryer on it and dry it.
Yeah, because I'm impatient too, I get it.
You can do it quick.
Mr. Tom, what was your favorite thing to do when you were my age?
There was just so many things to do. I lived like, I've ever heard of Opie? No, you haven't heard of Opie, but Opie was a favorite show for people, but he grew up and just got to do whatever he wanted to do. I got to go out at night and we'd get fireflies, and we'd take off the ends and put them on our fingers and make them like rings. And we would just dream up, whatever we would dream up, because we didn't have a lot of stuff. I grew up, I was born in 1938,
Oh,
so
wow.
I was growing up literally during World War II when everything was scarce. I didn't know that because I lived on a farm. We didn't have any scarcity.
Mr. Tom, tell me about your active living lifestyle.
Well, I grew up in a family that was very active, of course, but they just taught me over the years, this whole spectrum of my life, this is just the way they lived, to leave this world a little bit better for you having been here.
What have you been doing since you've retired?
I have started working at the senior center, I guess not volunteering in 2005, but that's when I started painting here at the senior center. But I suppose about 2008 is when I started volunteering, and it was mainly dealing with the library, the art library. And over these years I've been doing that in the senior center. Have been working with various committees. I've been involved in the planning for the new facility that is going to be coming in. We're planning to have another art library in the new senior center that's going to be under construction soon. And so I'm planning for that, and I'm cataloging and processing the books that have to be added to that, and then eventually I'll separate the two collections, so we'll have a collection here and a collection in the new center. And then another day a week I volunteer at the Cairo Public Library. That's where I teach my art class. I do other kinds of things volunteering for them. And then of course I'm actively involved in whatever projects need to be, church projects or other activities. I'm on the board of the Tri-State Christian Camp over near Defeating Springs. And I'm also on the board of the Seminole Christian Center at FSU.
Mr. Tom, why is it important for seniors to have an active lifestyle?
I think that's what keeps us going. We're supposed to walk, so far every day, and sometimes we don't do that. Yeah. And I think that for me, it keeps us involved in society and in life, and that way I would get bored if I wasn't involved in these things personally. My wife goes to the exercise class, and I probably should, but I don't. That's not one of my things.
Mr. Tom, if you had one wish for my generation, what would that be?
That you have just as great a time as I've had. That's really well. No, I wish that you would just, if you want to do something really special that takes a lot of training and preparation, you have to start young to do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Hart. Cannot wait to see Senior Center #2 and all the time you put in on that with the planning and the assembling all of the multiple moving parts of that. And ladies and gentlemen, this is someone we can all look up to as an example, a template for our own lives.
I just want to say one thing.
Right here, Tom,
before
please.
we leave. If you haven't been to Cairo, please go on Monday through Friday. The library is open from 10 until 6 p.m. in Cairo. If you want to see an exotic place in a little town, it's the Cairo Public Library. And if you haven't been there, it's fabulous. Thank you.
We will go. Thank you, Tom Hart, and congratulations. Our next Silver Star is Betty Roberts. Miss Roberts. We'll see your video. Well, folks, this is Tallahassee native Betty Roberts. A youthful and gorgeous 85. Yes, okay. Betty has lived out her parents' legacy, which was to love and do good to others. A devoted member of St. Mary Primitive Baptist Church. Okay. Betty serves in many different capacities, and she was interviewed by Revere Wagner in our upcoming video presentation. We're going to jump to that right now and learn a little bit more about you, okay?
Miss Betty, what did you want to be when you grew up?
When I was growing up, I wanted to be a teacher. And I'll tell you why. It was because, you know, I love school. I love my teachers. And that was probably the only thing that I knew at that time, believed that, you know, we could do, was to either teach or nurse. And I didn't want to be a nurse because the nurses came to our school when we were your age, and they gave us the shots. And we didn't want our immunization, what we call immunization now, but shots. And they hurt. And so I didn't want to be a nurse, but I ended up being a nurse and not a teacher. And I really thoroughly enjoyed nursing, and I enjoyed it because it was just so rewarding to help to nurse those very critical, ill patients back to health.
Miss Betty, what are you most proud of in your life?
The thing that I'm most proud of in life is the joy that I've gotten out of helping people. I feel like that services is my calling from God. I've been helping people since I was a child. I have other ministries that I work in at the church. For an example, we have a ministry that's called the Golden Age Ministry. And the Golden Age Ministry does a lot of services for the elderly. We check on the elderly, we visit, and we provide them with gifts and things of that nature. So there's always a lot of work that can be done and that needs to be done. I'm called on at various times to talk with people about my experience as a caregiver of an Alzheimer's patient for my husband. And I took care of him, and that was a full-time job.
Miss Betty, what do you spend most of your time doing now?
I read my Bible a lot, and a lot of time I just sit there and do nothing. I'm just beginning to appreciate the opportunity to take some time and rest.
What's something you haven't done but you want to do?
The only thing that I wanted to do and always wanted to do ever was to take a trip to the Holy Land in Jerusalem. I think opportunities may have passed me by, but that's one thing that I always wanted to do.
Miss Betty, do you have any advice for me?
Set your goals high. Work hard toward them, and don't give up. If you have some setbacks, you know, get up and start again. Do what's right, love everybody, and help others when you can, and keep focused and keep your mind on what you want to be. Know who you are and what you want to do, and go for it.
Miss Betty Roberts, and I sure hope that you do get to take that trip to Jerusalem at some point, ma'am.
Well,
Here we go.
okay. I do hope I get to take that trip also, but I do want to say just one thing while I'm here. I know that I'm so elated this afternoon about this event, something that I didn't anticipate ever doing, but it happened anyway. And I know that I did not do it by myself, so I wanted to first give my Heavenly Father thanks for what He has done for me, because He's been my strength and the source of all good. I want to thank my family, my immediate family, my church family, and my Smith-Williams family, and all of my friends who are here this afternoon, who have supported me, encouraged me, and worked with me to get me to this point. They have been like the wind beneath my wings. And also, I know everyone have heard the saying, "Give me my flowers while I can smell them." Well, you have made this a reality to me, and I really do truly thank you. I can't thank you enough. And I wanted to thank the Tallahassee Senior Citizen Foundation and the senior citizen staff for all the work that they have done to spotlight and highlight some of the activities that I've done in my life. And the really one thing that I wanted to say this afternoon to show how appreciative I am. Let me back just one more minute. I wanted to thank the late Ed Duffy, who did not give up on me and went around the stumbling block, me and myself, to get an application in for me through my daughter Paula. You know, when the senior citizen center called me, I could have went through the floor because I knew nothing about what was going on. And of course, I got on both of them for doing that. But now I want to thank Ed, and I want to thank Paula, because I am truly, truly thankful and grateful for this event this afternoon, a milestone in my life. As I said, I did not anticipate, but it has been wonderful. And the last thing I want to say that has made this so wonderful to me is the fact that my picture on the billboard happens to be on my stomping grounds when I was a child. My siblings and I used to roam all around in the area. We lived on Raymondville Road, about maybe a half a mile from where the billboard is now. And we just played all around there, and it was not developed at that time. Thomasville Road was just 2 lanes. And Raymondville Road was a dirt road. And we just played and traveled all around there, and that really, really touched my heart when I saw my picture up there and said, who would have ever thought that I would be up on a billboard out here. So thank y'all very much.
Although I am not going to follow Ms. Betty's example of going out and playing on Thomasville Road anytime soon, I'll tell you. Next up on our Silver Stars Award Gala, Pat and Reggie Ashley. And while they're coming, Pat and Reggie, a package deal, actually, wherever they're doing and whatever they're headed, whether it's being on the board of the Alzheimer's Resource Center, facilitating a respite group in Wakulla County, or flying in their personal airplane. They do make a dynamic duo. They met at church in Memphis, Tennessee, and now after almost 60 years of marriage, faith remains at the center of their life and activities. And they were interviewed by Dorothy Matthews over at Cornerstone. Let's see how they put that faith we talked about into action every day. Let's watch.
How long have you been married, and where did you meet?
Well, we've been married 60 years in August. When we first married, he was in the Navy, and we lived overseas in Bermuda for 2 years. I was with him for 2 years over there, and our oldest son was born there, so that was a special experience for us.
But it's very interesting. The first date we had, we went to a fair, and a storm came up, and we were inside an exhibit and didn't realize this weather alert had gone off, and it was a tornado alert, and we came out of this exhibit and just about everybody was gone.
Mr. and Mrs. Ashley, what do you wish you knew when you were younger?
I guess if I knew I was going to live this long, I would have maybe studied harder in school and maybe looked after my health a little more, although I do have generally good health. But it's things you didn't think about, you know, when you realize how things you do early in life affect you later in life.
What do you like to do?
My uncle was an Air Force pilot, and he took me for a plane ride when I was 5 years old. And I got hooked, if you will. And I've liked aviation, and I have a pilot's license, and I have my own airplane. We have a light plane that we like to fly, enjoy to fly.
Well, I enjoy going with him, and we did have an accident. We crashed in the Gulf one year when we were going to a funeral in Central Florida, and the plane that we were in, it just quit on us. And we landed in the Gulf, and we were rescued by some people who were out fishing. They were coming in and picked us up and took us into a fish camp. He said, "We're going down," and I said, "Okay, we're here together." So it was a survival time.
But most of our experiences have been very positive and enjoyable. That was just one minor little glitch.
What is your passion?
Well, my mother had Alzheimer's, and so I got very interested in trying to help others who had that disease, the family. I worked with a respite program in Wakulla County. We helped establish the group in 2009. Also have been a facilitator for a caregiver support group, which meets once a month. I've been working with that for 25 years. I enjoy just trying to encourage people to take care of themselves so that they can take care of their loved ones.
Well, my passion in life is sharing life with her. We've been married over 50 years, and so we love to do things together. And as I said, aviation has always been a big interest to me, so that's, I guess, a passion still. And over the years, we've traveled over a good part of the country.
What is the funniest thing that ever happened in your marriage?
There's an incident when my mother was living with us, and I was on the telephone, and she got away outside the door and walked 2 blocks from the house, and he was getting ready to go to work. But he took the time and he got in the car to track her down, and she wouldn't get in the car. She was going to work. She had been a school teacher, and she was going to school. And at the time, it wasn't funny, but later when we were able to talk about it and relive it, it was to us.
What is a piece of advice that you would give to me?
Study hard, get as much education as you can, prepare your mind, and take care of your body as you grow up.
Pat and Reggie Ashley, folks, congratulations. Anything you'd like to say?
I'd like to thank everybody who had a part in this, and for Mary Coker, who was one who nominated us, and she's one of our volunteers at the Respite Center. We just encourage you to take care of yourselves.
Congratulations, folks. And we thought that Captain Sully had all the fun, huh? Our next honoree, as we continue our Silver Stars celebration tonight, is a name that is well known to anyone who has been in Tallahassee for probably any more than a couple of dozen years or so. That person is Marjorie Turnbull. Yes, in full disclosure, we go back many, many years here, so. Yeah, we'll do some unofficial, let's see, off-the-record interviews afterwards, okay? Okay, we'll do that. Anyway, in case you don't know, the Honorable Marjorie Turnbull has truly lived a life of public service and helping others, from humble beginnings, running the Xerox machine at the Mission to the United Nations, to being an elected official on the Leon County Commission and then the Florida House of Representatives. She continues to live with purpose and find worthwhile ways to invest her time. No matter what you ask this lady to do, she is going to do it, and then suffix that with what else might I be able to do. And no task is too small, and one never knows that will lead to yet more involvements for her. She inherited the perfect blend of her mom's practicality and her dad's close mentoring, and that gave her a platform to do and be whatever she wanted, and she considers being a mentor to others as one of her most outstanding accomplishments, and also attributes much of her success and happiness to her mentors. Her advice to others: never hesitate to seek out a mentor, no matter how important that person seems. Lots more to say about this remarkable lady. Let's see it on video, please.
You're the first woman to be elected to the House of Representatives from Leon County. What were the key ideas and key moments of your campaign?
I first ran for the county commission, and when I ran, my campaign was to support neighborhoods and the environment. And we were also at that time building a new county courthouse, and it was over budget, and it had overgone its completion date. So I also ran on a good management platform for county government and making sure that we spend our money properly. But when I ran for the legislature, because the focus is very different, because you're dealing with statewide issues, my main campaign was on support of state workers and education, because we have 2 universities and a community college, and then of course our K through 12 system. When I was in office, I never thought of myself as a woman. I thought of myself as a county commissioner or as a legislator, and not by gender.
Miss Marjorie, is there anything that you're doing now that you would never be imagining you would be doing now?
I don't really know what I could say about that. I think the difference is that I didn't imagine I would be as busy as I am in retirement. But I now say that I didn't retire, I rewired. I've been involved with a number of nonprofit organizations. I'm on the board of Big Bend Hospice. Well, Big Bend Hospice is there, I think, for people at the time in their life when they most need support, because someone they love very much is nearing death. And so they provide all of the support, not just for the person who's ill, but for the family. And it's just a very comforting way to deal with death when someone in your family is very near death and dying.
What are you most passionate about?
When I retired, I decided that I would say yes if someone asked me to do something based on 3 criteria. Would it help other people? Would I learn something? And would it be fun? So everything I've gotten involved with, that's in many different areas, music, children, helping people who have family members that are no longer going to be living. But all of them I felt had deep purpose to them, and that it was something that I could learn from. And so I didn't really have any one single passion. It was more just about helping other people.
Ms. Marjorie, why is it important to volunteer?
I remember one time my grandmother saying to me, Marjorie, there is one reason and one reason only God put us on this earth, and that's to help other people. And my father always said that there's no limit to the good a person can do as long as they don't expect to get the credit.
Do you have any advice for me and my generation?
I'm very encouraged by the younger generation. I think you all are unselfish. I think you look at less about the material things in life and the things that truly matter to human beings. So I'm very optimistic about it, and I hope that's the case.
Marjorie Turnbull. It's all yours today.
I think for the first time in my life I'm speechless. But this is just such a wonderful event, and I'm grateful for Michelle Bono and Dave Bruns for nominating me for this award. And there's so many people in this room who made a difference in my life, because we all know none of us are up here just because of ourselves. It's always the other people that we love and learn from that make the real difference. So thank you all so very much.
Well, amidst the many honorees that we have this evening, a member of the military is going to be our next person to receive accolades here as part of the Silver Stars Awards for 2021. And that gentleman would be Colonel Washington Sanchez. Colonel, come on up, please. And while he comes, we'll tell you that Colonel Washington Sanchez continues his active duty service by helping veterans any way he can. He's been inducted into the Florida Veterans Hall of Fame and the National ROTC Hall of Fame. He's also been selected as the Florida Purple Heart 2021 honoree for a 4-day trip to New York to the National Purple Heart Patriot Honor Mission. You even see him on the side of a Star Metro bus. And Colonel Sanchez was interviewed by the incredible Max Diaz de Villegas, and let's see that video right now, please.
Colonel Sanchez, I noticed the Purple Heart you're wearing. Can you tell me about it?
Yes, the Purple Heart is an award that I received from Vietnam in 1965 from being wounded. I was shot in the leg while on a combat operation.
I like your hat, sir.
I like it too. It hides my bald head, but it's very meaningful in that this hat represents the Military Order of the Purple Heart, whose job since 1932 was to protect the Purple Heart and make sure that people who did not earn the Purple Heart did not wear the Purple Heart.
Can you tell me about your military service?
Graduated from FAMU here in Tallahassee, Florida, in ROTC, and went on to Fort Benning, Georgia. I spent 27 years in the military. Went from second lieutenant to full colonel. During that time, I had a number of assignments to include the Vietnam assignment, and I was fortunate enough to make rank for lieutenant colonel and command the battalion for 3 years in Germany.
What types of things are you passionate about?
I'm mostly passionate about working with veterans and helping veterans with their lifestyle and making sure that as much as possible we help veterans that are homeless and veterans at risk to other factors such as being incarcerated, being in a situation where medical problems cause them to do things to themselves, such as commit suicide, what have you. So my pride and joy was working with the Florida Veteran Foundation, which I became the CEO, the chairman of that organization for 3.5 years, and I worked closely with veterans throughout the state of Florida, primarily helping them with their housing, helping them with situations where preventing them from being foreclosed on or being evicted from their quarters.
Colonel Sanchez, tell me about the Star Metro Purple Heart bus with pictures of veterans.
I will acknowledge that I stole the idea from a Purple Heart chapter in Lakeland, Florida. So I came back to Tallahassee and talked to Star Metro, and we got together and we said, okay, we can do a better job of wrapping a bus. And they did. They put pictures of a number of veterans, I think about 12 of us on the bus. And the interesting thing about that is that the bus itself ran routes within the city like a standard bus. And so you see it all over town.
What advice do you have for living a positive life?
My advice for anyone is to stay active. Do something for someone every day of your life if you can. And that's what I do. I wake up every morning, I'm thinking about someone or some activity that helps someone in the not only my veteran community, but also in my community that I live in as well. So doing something for people is the best thing for living a full life.
Colonel Washington Sanchez, the mic is yours, sir.
This is wonderful. I thank all of you for coming out because you're honoring people that have done a lot of things. I've done a few things. You say I'm the youngest person on the list, so I probably could have waited another 10 years and still be up here. I think because my wife been volunteering doing taxes at the senior center, that she's the one that introduced me to Sheila and say maybe he'll accept what she know. If somebody asks me to do something, I just go ahead and do it. I don't have to investigate it, I just do it. So I want to thank the center and the foundation for allowing me to participate at this young age. Thank you.
And this young man's going to be really, really busy coming up not this coming weekend, but the following one, because that is going to be the Veteran Stand Down, which will be over at FAMU. And the Lawson Center this year should be a very busy weekend. Our next Silver Star that we welcome to the stage is Judy Westbrook. Here, Judy, just follow Tony. He'll provide executive direction. Fear not. She made it. If you stay active, your brain stays busy, so it's not shutting down. If your brain shuts down, everything shuts down. Words of wisdom.
Really?
Yes, from you.
What the heck?
You know, from starting her first job at the age of 10 at one of those A&W root beer stands, I want one back. Can anyone open a franchise?
A&W?
Yes.
Yeah, it was the best place to work ever. And it was back when it was safe. Because I worked till 10, 11 o'clock at night, lived a mile and 3/4 down the road, and I could walk home and nobody bothered me.
Those were different times. They were.
They were, yeah.
Well, she graduated from Wayne University with a degree in education at the age of 20. She jumped into her career teaching first grade in California before moving to colorful Clewiston, Florida. It was there she married, raised 2 stepsons, and then fast forward, we get to 2003. After being retired and also widowed, she decided to start a new life in a new place, and this is how she got to Tallahassee. So, if you take a road trip through Florida and you decide to stop in Tallahassee, and you're out walking around town and a young man just runs up to you and gives you a bear hug and he says, "Westbrook, you're here."
Yeah, so we spent 3 days together. I didn't know anybody else.
This is veering into R-rated territory. I don't know. We may have. But it, as so happened, he was one of your former students then studying at Florida A&M.
Yeah.
And that convinced you that Tallahassee would be your new home. It's a fantastic story, but let's hear how Judy has stayed active and healthy in her adopted hometown of Tallahassee. Let's watch.
Miss Judy, what was your childhood like?
I grew up in a small community outside Detroit. They've since changed the name, even though I didn't give them permission. When we were young, Daddy took time off from work. He worked nights, and he took us down to a little hardware store in our community where there was a stool, and on it was a little black box. It was the very first TV in our town, and nobody could figure out how we got all those people inside that little box.
Miss Judy, what gets you excited every day?
Being able to get outdoors and prowl. I live near the Miccosukee Greenway. I guess some people would say they could meditate out there or do all these Zoom things they do. I just like to walk it. And then if I want to, I could take a nap because I've done my duty.
Miss Judy, what are some things that you are passionate about?
Well, when I moved here, I learned in a hurry that if I volunteered with different groups, I'd get to watch performances free of charge. So I saved money by volunteering. I could do the symphony because I could stand at the door and hand out programs and tell people welcome. And I did artist series, I did Word of the South, I did everything that went on at Cascades Park, I did. Because I love Cascade, or I did before they built that hotel. Whenever somebody needed help, there I was. There's a lot to giving back to a community that you like living in. Right now I'm on a kick to help people get food. So I've been working with a nonprofit called A Full Summer to help the food bank and to help get food to people who need it. Right now we have 9 schools in Leon County that have a food pantry. And the food pantry is for the families who don't have sufficient funds to buy the food the kids need.
Miss Judy, what do you do to stay active?
Well, I live at Westminster Oaks, and there's quite a bit there that can keep me active. I could walk, I could run, but I'm a lousy runner. I quit after about 5 steps. There's a pool, I could do that. There's a fitness center, so I can go lift weights if I want to show off. I climb stairs. I live in a 5-story building, so I can climb stairs. I don't take elevators, because if I take elevators, it's not going to work off all the junk food I eat.
Miss Judy, what are some of the accomplishments in your life that you are most proud of?
Well, I've turned 88 and I don't have a single health problem. So to me, that's an accomplishment. I take a calcium every day and that's it, because I want strong bones and strong teeth, because I like to chew on bones, okay? I think I did a good job at teaching kids to read, and that was the big thing. And then there were things like trying to teach the kids the difference between adjectives and adverbs, and gummy bears worked great to do that. Because if you got it right, you could eat your gummy bear. If you didn't get it right, I got the gummy bear back.
Hey, do you have any gummy bears now?
Ladies and gentlemen, the indefatigable, unshakable, unsinkable Judy Westbrook.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, come on.
A sink? I can sink if the boat has a leak. Come on now. All right, Tom, go away, leave me alone.
All right, all right. There we go. Oh, all good things, however, must come to an end. And before we get into our final segment of this evening's festivities, we have one more Silver Star to present accolades to. That is Reverend Edith W. Holliday Austin. Reverend Edith Holliday Austin sure shows no signs of slowing down. She trusts that her belief in God and a good education has guided her throughout her life. Born into a large, loving family in the Leon County community of Barrow Hill. I know where that is, Rev. Reverend Edith was determined to get to school, and she and her sister would leave home at the ungodly hour of 5 a.m., ride the Greyhound bus into town, often returning home after dark. She excelled in academics and enjoyed playing basketball in high school, and claims that she has great aim and can still land a ball of paper in a box across the room. Sounds like a slam dunk to me. As a single mom with 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter, she enrolled in college, earned a BS and Master's in Elementary Education from FAM, and a Certificate in Education Supervision and Administration from Florida State. She worked for almost 40 years as an elementary and high school educator and was named Teacher of the Year before retiring from Leon County Schools. Let's meet Reverend Edith on video.
What challenges did you face growing up?
I grew up in the country in a community that was very close-knit. Everybody looked out for everybody. I couldn't understand the system, the disparity, the differences. However, my mother and my father always tried to shelter us from all of these disparities. And my daddy would always say, "Don't give up." And my mom would say, "Stick to it."
Reverend Holliday Austin, what did you do for your career?
I taught grades kindergarten through 10th grade. In my first grade class, we were segregated then, scored higher than any first grade class in Gaston County. So I always told them that there are many things that go out of style, but there are some things never will go out of style. Self-respect, respect for others, and love.
Reverend Holly Austin, what have you done since retirement?
So I still work with young people. Organization I am head of, we call them the Starlights. My greatest thing now has been of my age to find younger people that I can confide in and who really want to see the generations of people to move forward, not forgetting the basic of our human being. But I also retired to be a full-time pastor at a full-time church.
Reverend Holly Austin, what motivates you every day?
Every day, what motivates me is the grace of God that has kept me. It motivates me to let my little light shine, that others would ask me, what do you do to keep going? And I could share with them.
What advice do you have for children growing up now?
The word says, children, obey your parents in the Lord. And my advice would be for the children to obey your parents. It might come a time that you just have to walk away and say nothing. That's respect. And when things come tough in your life, because you will have some challenges in your life, but don't give up and don't turn around. Keep pressing forward in the name of the Almighty. Hallelujah.
Have you won any awards for your work?
I have quite a few awards. I have about 35 awards, about 20 plus trophies. But I do realize and recognize one thing, that one day all these awards will be vanity. And one day I've got the answer to my Father. He's going to ask me about, who did you cheer up? Who did you encourage? When did you walk the extra mile? Those and that is the biggest award that I'm looking forward to. And hear him say, servant of God, well done, enter my kingdom.
Reverend Edith. And ma'am, could you give us a benediction, please?
They say you're in trouble when you give a preacher the mic. One of the hostess said to me, you're going to be last, and we want you to give us a message. I said, where's the offering plate? With all sincerity, I would like to give special thanks to Miss Barbara Rollins, who recommended me, and to the committee who accepted the recommendation, and to my family and my friends, with all your support that you have given me in my lifetime, and still you have my back. And as you heard, I'm from a large family. I was number 2 of a family of 9. And my father signed his name with an X. My mother had an 8th grade education. But I had a loving family and a supporting family. And I stand here to say to you today, love your family, support your family and the young people. And since the hostess said I would be last and give him a message, I'm going to give you one. But it's going to be very short and sweet. You don't go this way but one time. Accolades are great. Recognitions are great. Trophies, awards, and all those things are great. But never forget your fellow man. Love your fellow man. Do good whenever you can. Do good all the places you can, all the times you can, all the means you can. Do good. Do good. And you can't do it by yourself. But the maker, the controller of all things, will help you to do that. But do good to all people as long as you can. And watch God work. Thank you.
We have been duly inspired, ladies and gentlemen. We sure have. Well, that concludes our presentation of our 2021 Silver Stars. It's not about how old you are, but how you keep moving with purpose. And we have seen some purpose-filled lives this evening for sure. And we want to thank each and every one for giving us inspiration and the oomph to keep on keeping on during these challenging times. And I'd like to challenge each one of us to keep moving and doing the things that we love to do, as these folks have. So one more time, let's give our stars a big round of applause and cheer ourselves on to our next adventure. And with that, let us welcome Mr. Carvajal back to the microphone. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, I'm not sure I wanted to come up after the Reverend or after Tom Flanagan, but please join me in thanking the inimitable Tom Flanagan from WFSU. Great job as always. So we got a few more minutes, so don't get too comfortable and get ready to stand up and stuff like that. I've just got a few things that I want to do, and there's one more important than anything else. Those videos were fantastic, weren't they? But you notice that there were two people in all of them, and I want to recognize those people who helped put them on. So if you are here, come on up, you know who you are. I'm going to call their names. They're not all present. Some of them actually have homework or something to do, I'm sure. But they are from the Cornerstone Learning Community. Matthew Allen, Zoe Deck, Sophia Hall. Come on up if you're here, please. She'll show you how to get around the tables, no problem. Isabel Lopez, Dorothy Matthews. I know Max Diaz de Vegas and Simon Juice and Rivers Wagner. Look, I'm going to step aside for just 1 second because we've done these videos for a very long time, and I appreciate Anne Maria Small and the students at Cornerstone Learning Community for partnering with us each year with these video interviews. And normally they would escort the stars up, but heck, those stars were running all the way up here on their own, thank goodness. This is a highlight of the evening, and I just want you to join me in applauding and thanking these kids, because that was fantastic. So the Cornerstone Learning Community has partnered with us, and I appreciate it. You can stay up here as long as you can. If some of you want to read the script, that's fine too, but otherwise, thank you so much for being here tonight. But it's going to take a few more minutes, so if you want to go sit down, that's okay. Yeah. They didn't get a chance to get the mic. I was worried about that. I appreciate the opportunity not only to do this each year, and Tom, thank you so much. It's been a privilege to do it with Anna, but it is certainly a privilege to do it with you as well. And I each year try to have some reflections from what I have heard. And boy, there were tons. But one comment that really stuck out was that these are different times. And these are certainly times that seem to have fought and cast out anything that passes for normal. But today is a great reminder that even if the days be dark, stars light the way. Silver stars are ever near and they shine day and night. Today we honor teachers and nurses and fighters, leaders, travelers, and consolers, commissioners and the commissioned, entrepreneurs and players, pastors, patriots, painters, and Purple Hearts, catalogers, controllers, lovers of music, travel foundations, and faith, root beer float makers and billboard models, gardeners, guides, docents, and hostesses extraordinaire. They are caring and caregivers, ministers and meal makers, mentors and readers, and even handy with a hairdryer. All in all, a group that stays active, giving comfort and respite, serving and ministering, feeding body, mind, and soul as they go, loving almost every minute of their life. They have traveled the world, some by choice and some by deployment, in search of the Holy Land, though we know well that wherever they go and fulfill their mission is holy indeed. They have lived like kings, guided others through mansions, mentored and helped along the way. They've battled barriers, spoken up, stood down, always trying to guess the key code so they can escape and give more. And they've walked a lot. They are made of matter that doesn't let them fear or fail. No tornado or plane crash or battle scar will keep them down. No disparity or barriers have stood in their way long enough. They don't give up, and they certainly don't give in. We get a chance to recognize them today for their service to others, to our community, and to us. And they recognize us, their families, their friends, and their partners, and share this advice for their journeys. Love and do good. Love your family. Love your fellow man. Love the unlovable. Love the Lord and each other. Hold on to those you love. None of us is here without the help of others. Explore new ideas, share knowledge, time, and talents. Mentor and be mentored. Say yes if you'll learn, or you'll help, or you'll have fun. Let your little light shine. Respect yourself and others. Comfort the anxious. Remember, they are not your enemy. Live for each other. Volunteer. It does good for the world, and ultimately it ends up getting you free tickets into events. Speak when you need to and be quiet when you must. Stand up during stand downs. Prepare your mind. Take care of your body. Prowl. Stay active. Stay busy. Keep the brain alive. But when your duty is done, it's okay to nap. Work hard. It won't kill you. Smell the flowers while you can. Don't retire. Rewire. Do something for people, and that will fill your life. We are here for one purpose, and that's to serve. There is no limit to the good we can do if we don't care about the credit. And keep faith at the center of your life. Respect yourself, respect others, and love. Do good as long as you can. There are stars all around us, here and in pumpkin patches in the sky. For all of us here, let me say, thank you for shining so bright and leaving this world a little better than when you got here. Because of you, we can have a life as full and as fun as you and Opie had, whoever Opie is. Well done, faithful servants. And by the way, any of you got any gummy bears? Thank you so much for sharing this moment with us. Congratulations to all our Silver Stars, and let me give a great thanks to all of our sponsors, but particularly Capital Health Plan as presenting sponsor, and Capital Home Health for being Galaxy sponsor and making this event wonderful. We hope that we will see you here next year celebrating the 20th anniversary, but it will be, I don't know what year anymore. And whoever is on this stage, I know that they will appreciate the examples that you have given. Go forth and do good as long as you possibly can, faithful servants. Appreciate it. Good night.